Hey guys, glad you stopped by. So tonight for dinner, to celebrate my new desktop and my monitor behind us, and just life almost getting back to normal, we would do something easy. But we were gonna cook it in a pan on the stovetop. So once again, no crock pot, no Instapot, just one cast iron skillet, or a skillet of your choosing, really. If you don't have cast iron, probably a good non-stick. And we're gonna do a chicken paella, P-E-A-L-L-A, I think is how it's spelled. But it's basically, it's a Spanish dish. It's chicken and rice. That's got it's really easy to put together. Only takes a couple minutes. It's incredibly versatile. You can do and change so much. I'm sure you guys have probably made a similar version of this a million times. I'd never heard of it before now. So, but this one, it's start to finish, 30 minutes to get it done. Great weeknight meal to hit up. So I don't think it'll be a bad thing to do at all. We got some juicy dark meat chicken. We've got lots of seasonings. Matter of fact, the kind of the main event for at least this recipe that we're doing tonight is going to be the Portuguese. It's kind of like an all-purpose seasoning that we're going to make on our own. Not something I can buy in the store around here, but I looked up several different recipes to make sure that I had what would go into one normally. And so we have them. But anyhow, enough about the what we're making. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If this is your first video, thanks for stopping by. If you get something out of this video, maybe check out some of my other ones. If you are returning or one of our new subscribers, welcome back and thank you. We have broke 3,800 subscribers as of the taping of this video, which today is Tuesday. This will come out Wednesday, which I will then also give an update for those that have been following. I finally got into a specialist and I get to go see, hopefully at least start the progress of seeing what's going on inside of me. But different story, different video. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And comments always welcomed. I respond to all of them, good, bad, or indifferent. I respond. The only thing I ever ask is think before you type. It's okay to disagree, just be polite in the comment. But like I said, I do respond. I think that's it. I will do my best to give you your measurements in cups, tablespoons, teaspoons, along with milliliters and grams. That way, no matter where you're at and who you are, you can play along. So why don't we head on down here to the counter and we will get started on this dish. All right, hold on for me just 1 second. All right, so we are going to start out. Only things you'll really need to drink this with is pretty much one bowl and one skillet. And like I said, I'm using cast iron, but you can use any nonstick oven safe type dish that you want to use, although we're not putting it in the oven today, so it doesn't really matter. But something that's nonstick, good frying pan, and a larger one. There's going to be a fair amount going into this. So anyhow, that being said, first thing we need to do is go ahead and make our Portuguese, we'll say an all-purpose spice blend, kind of like Cajun seasoning or things of that nature that require Italian seasoning, things that involve multiple spices going in as one. So to make our seasoning, first thing we're going to need is 5 tablespoons, 40 grams of paprika, and this is just plain old sweet paprika, nothing fancy, nothing smoked or Hungarian, or just plain old paprika. Now you can use those, no rules says you can't, but we're going to put that in first. Like I said, 40 grams, 5 tablespoons. And we're going to follow that with 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Now I've got like 14 things sitting here. Well, maybe not 14, but there's a lot. 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and that's just regular old ground black pepper. Buy in the store for anywhere. And that is 4 grams. We're going to need 1 teaspoon, 3 grams of chili powder. And it's just plain old chili powder, like you would put in chili. And then we need 1 teaspoon, 2 grams of cumin, which is, I guess it doesn't matter, but I want to make sure we get it right. Yeah, 1 teaspoon, 2 grams of cumin. And then we need 1 teaspoon, 2 grams of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon, 2 grams of allspice. We're about to get into some baking spices, and it always throws me off, but those are really heavy in Asian style dishes. Indian, Spanish, Indian style dishes use a lot of what we would consider fall baking spices. But anyhow, we got the 1 teaspoon, 2 grams of allspice right there. Fresh nutmeg, 1 gram, or 1 teaspoon, 1 gram of fresh nutmeg. I have been doing a lot of my own grinding for spices. If you can buy whole nutmeg, it lasts forever. But that's 1 gram, 1 teaspoon of fresh ground nutmeg. And then we need a half a teaspoon, a half a gram of oregano. And then a 1/4 teaspoon, 0.25 grams of ginger. And 1/8 of a teaspoon, and I don't have a measurable amount for it, of cloves. A small pinch. It'd be like a 0.13 of a gram of cloves. Cloves are very potent. They go a long way. Have gun will travel, so to speak. That's cinnamon. And then the last thing we're going to do, and I use my pestle and mortar right here to do this with, is I have 1 bay leaf in there that I just simply ground up. I use my pestle and mortar and ground it up into a nice powder. Now if you don't have one, you could also use a, they make spice blenders, or you can use a coffee bean grinder, any of those things, but you want it to be dedicated to spices. We have a coffee bean grinder that is actually dedicated to just spices, but for 1 leaf, and that is just 1 bay leaf, I just use my mortar and pestle, and we're gonna put that in there, which then proves that bay leaves aren't poisonous. Somebody I read that a long time ago. They're not poisonous, or nobody would cook with them. Last thing I need to put in there is 1 teaspoon. It's about 3/4 to a whole lemon's worth of lemon zest, and I just let it set out so it dried, because we want it to be dry. We'll get that in there, just like such. And then we'll give that a good whisk around so we're all together. Once we get that done, we can go ahead and get our chicken out, which I have got 1.5 pounds, 550 grams, or I'm sorry, 1.25 pound, 550 grams of just chunked up chicken thigh. Nothing, not big pieces, but not small. And we're gonna take those, we're gonna put them in here with our seasoning mix. And normally I'd use a glove, but I don't have one, that's okay. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna take our seasoning mix here, which if you have the ability to buy the Portuguese seasoning mix, it is 2 to 3 tablespoons worth, or as much as you want to have. This is obviously more because we got 5 tablespoons of paprika. It's about 6 tablespoons worth of spice mix, but that's okay. But if you're buying the spice mix, about 3 to 4 tablespoons worth, and you should be good. It'll depend on the amount of chicken you use. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna let that sit in the bowl, wash my hands off real quick, just like such, and then I am going to get a teaspoon of oil out, about a tablespoon of olive oil, and we're gonna go ahead and get it heating up on the stove top here in our pan, so that way we can get this chicken cooked. All right, so we got smoke starting to come up a little bit, got a little smoke dancing, got some dancing going on in the oil, so now we want to go ahead and do our chicken. And just so I don't overcrowd on my pan here, I'm gonna do this in two batches. So I'll go ahead and get these first ones cooked through, until they get a nice crispness to them. and then I'll remove it and move on to the second batch. And it's okay if you don't have, if they're not done all the way through, because they're going to cook. We're going to cook them longer with everything else. So, but we want to get it a good head start and get a nice crispness on the outside. All right, so we got our chicken is cooked. You know, and like I said, it's probably not cooked all the way through, but it's awfully close. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to offset a little from the original recipe, and I've got a bag of frozen stir fry. There's like 20 of them to choose from out there, and I got one that just had the things I would like in it: some celery, some carrots, some broccoli, some cauliflower, and some red pepper. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this in, and it just had you dump this in with the chicken and add everything else to it. But I want to get a little color and some of that flavor on there beforehand, so we're going to go ahead and let this cook for a minute or so in the residual oil and pit and bits that are on the bottom there to pick up that flavor. All right, so we've been about 2-3 minutes, and we got, you know, some of that color on there, some of the flavor, some of that's, you know, softened up a little bit. Now, I'm using a bag of frozen stir fry. You could just as easily use any vegetables you have in your fridge. You know, you can make this dish as quick or as time and from scratch consuming that you want it to be. I could have just as easily bought a stalk of broccoli, a stalk of cauliflower, use some of the celery in the fridge, some carrots, some red peppers, cut all that up, maybe thrown in a few more vegetables, and done it that way. But instead I chose to just grab a one of the, I don't know, 18 stir fries that they offer at the grocery store. So now that we've got that done, we can go ahead and we can add our chicken back in, just like that. And then I have got, and the stir fry was 15 ounces, 425 grams worth of frozen stir fry vegetables, 15 ounce bag. But now I've got a 28 ounce can of diced tomatoes, and with the juice, you know, go ahead and leave the juice in there. We're going to need that to help make the rice with, and that's 722 grams. I'm sorry, 794 grams. A can of diced tomatoes. So we'll get that in there, give that all a good stir real quick. Ooh. Try not to get it all, leave it all in the pan. Got that in there. Then we're going to add 1 cup, 240 milliliters of chicken broth. I'm using a cup of water and a teaspoon of better than bouillon chicken broth, or chicken bouillon. That is like my favorite go-to if I don't have fresh, you know, made from scratch chicken broth on the counter, which I'm still one chicken carcass shy of being able to make chicken broth. So we've got that going. And then the last thing we're going to add to this is I'm using 1 cup of basmati rice, and it's been rinsed and set and cleaned and all that good stuff. So that way, I mean, you can keep the starch in it if you'd like, but I did not. I've just gotten in the habit of rinsing mine. Go ahead and get that in. 1 cup, 210 grams of basmati rice. We'll give that a quick stir in. We're going to bring this to a boil. Then we are going to turn it down to a simmer. Once I turn it down to a simmer, I am going to put a lid on it, and I am going to let it simmer for about 12 minutes. Alright guys, so timer's going off. We did our 12 minutes, so the next thing we're going to do is turn our burner off. We are going to just take that off the burner, and we're going to let that sit there for another 10 minutes. We would do that anyhow, right? Anytime we cook something on the stove or in the oven, we always let it cool for a specific amount of time, well, a amount of time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, depending on what it is. And that way we don't melt our face off. So we will go ahead and let that sit there for 10 minutes, and then when I come back we can take a look at it and try some. Alright, I will see you here in just 1 second. All right, been our 10 minutes and this looks ridiculously good. And the kitchen smells amazing. Just amazing. And it's literally taken us, well, about a half hour, is what it's come down to, because the only thing we had to prep was the chicken. And we made our own Portuguese seasoning, although we could have bought a store-bought, or there was an option to use a Cajun seasoning. Either way, both of the latter two, the pre-made Portuguese or the Cajun seasoning, would have eliminated all the time of getting the spices together. The chicken took 5 minutes to cut up, 20 minutes on the stovetop total, 25 minutes, bam, dinner, ready to go. But anyhow, let's give this a try. I am quite excited to try this out and see how it goes. Now, they didn't recommend putting anything on top of it. They didn't even recommend a side for it, although I would guess a good salad, maybe some bread. A nice flatbread would go well with this, I think. Or I mean, you could even go cornbread for that matter. Man, that smells so good coming off of there. There earthy spices, the nutmeg, the allspice, the clove, combined with the smoked paprika. That man, it just gives such an amazing aroma to fill up your kitchen with. That's like when I was grinding up the nutmeg and stuff. Oh my God, the kitchen was like on just smell profile overload. My face was just going, my nose was going nuts. It was crazy. But anyhow, enough talk. Let's give this a try, see what happened. That's really, really good. Wow. That is really just quite the little dish. And that chicken is super tender. Using a dark meat. Now you could have used, chicken breast if you didn't want to use thigh. I said some of the recipes I saw had chorizo, shrimp, sausage, pork, chicken, beef. It's more about, what do you have on hand in the seasoning. But I want to give this another bite real quick. Yeah. That is definitely one you can't go wrong with. That seasoning mix, just that whole combination, you can't pick out a specific spice. It's like you put them all together and it just has this beautiful flavor all its own. Floral yet not floral yet. A little spicy but not really spicy. If I were to do anything, add anything to this, it would probably be to add some jalapenos here at the end, or some hot sauce of some sort, because I think I would like a little more heat in that. That's amazing though. You guys have got to give this a try, hands down. Let me know if you do. You can comment down below. Let me know if maybe you have one that you do that, a paella that you do that has different spices in it, or you use different meats or different vegetables, and you want to talk about it, let us know. Leave me a comment. Facebook's another great place to comment while we're on there, or Instagram, Messenger, whatever it takes. You can find me pretty much everywhere but TikTok and Snapchat. And I don't know if that's ever going to be a thing, but all the same. Tomorrow, I'm still not quite sure what we're going to do for dessert. As like I said, even though you're seeing this Wednesday, it's actually Tuesday for me, and I do have a doctor's appointment with a specialist to get that started. So I don't know what we'll be doing for dessert. I got a couple ideas left, and I know we're getting near the holidays. which begs the question, if you've made it this far, what would you like to see me bake for the holidays? What's your favorite thing to have dessert-wise for holidays? I know I'm going to do a video on what is probably one of my favorite ever, and it was something my great aunt made, and it's a date nut log. I haven't had one in many years since she passed away, and I would love to have one, and I think I found a recipe that closely matches hers. She did not come off of it easily, and I would like to share that. But I mean, is there a cookie you guys do, or a cake or a pie that's specific for Christmas? It'd be nice to hear. But at any rate, till tomorrow for dessert, and there will be a tomorrow, and there will be a dessert. I guarantee it. I love you. I love you very much. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else that you love them and that you love them very much. They may need to hear it. It's going to make them smile either way it goes. It's going to make you smile and feel pretty good to tell them that you love them. And if you make them some of this paella, this chicken paella, I guarantee that they're going to know that you love them in every bite. It's going to fill their belly full of warmth and good food and lead to hours of conversation, I guarantee it. So, until tomorrow for dessert, I love you, and I'll see you then. All right? See you later. Bye-bye.